Making a healthy lifestyle change usually starts with just committing to a change. When I see patients, whether it's the first time I see them or I see them in follow-up, I always try to embrace some form of relaxation practice, some form of activity or exercise, and then some form of healthy nutrition practice. And I think that usually starts people on their way to being healthy. 90 years of age, little medicines and surgeries, and also being happy as you were when you were 20. Now, of the 3 points, I think nutrition is usually the easiest catalyst to change because there's so much bad nutrition that a standard American diet involves us with. The commercials you see on TV are done so well that you want to go out and buy the product that you see, drink the alcohol that you see. You want to go visit the restaurant. Even driving to work, an average 30 minutes where I live, or driving to school, within 30 minutes, you'll probably pass 5 fast food places. And it doesn't matter what time of the day it is, but in passing those 5 fast food places, you'll probably see a line wrapping around the building, getting ready for drive-through service. Why is that? I mean, part of it is we're enticed to take advantage of fast food because we have no time. And that's where the relaxation practice comes in handy, but I'm going to let that go for now. The other part is the food industry has made these things that we get real fast so yummy and so rewarding that you really want to try what everybody else has. And that's the caveat, is the food industry has probably always had research and science on their side as far as how to get people to buy their product. But now in 2015, we're having more and more information leaked out to the general public about how things work. So that's why I love to, and it's kind of confusing to see all this stuff, and you can see conspiracy theories sometimes, and that's a little bit too much, but I'm supposed to be the doctor or the person that sifts through all the information to regurgitate it and give it to my patients in a presentable form so it's tangible and easy to follow. So that's where I came up with this food kills video. Most of the time, again, if you just make the commitment to a healthy diet and get junk food out of the way and soda pop out of the way, you'll actually be good. The board behind me is signatures from patients who have actually lost around 20 pounds each. And I took this practice over January 1st of 2015, and now in September, 9 months later, we've had lists. I have people, without even asking them to lose weight, I just introduced fiber, I introduced clean and green eating, I introduced the other aspects of healthy nutrition and lifestyle, and they're just coming and losing 20 pounds, feeling happier, usually getting off a couple medicines here and there. So this is inspiring to me. I can't wait to actually start a weight loss clinic, but I think that just eating and giving permission for living healthy will actually get your body to revert back to the way it was before. But again, back to our talk with regards to the choices that we make after you've committed to just stopping junk food and stopping soda. There are some fine details that I might be able to help you with today to understand this whole concept. This is salad. This is what I usually have, dark leafy greens in the afternoon, sometimes before my dinner at night, and this has been a staple for me. I'm not asking everybody to do it. I remember everybody that used to think mostly whole food, plant-based diet eaters were vegans and ate like rabbits. I always came back with them saying, well, a rhinoceros is also a vegetarian too, so where do you get that muscle from? So anyway, this is plant, and this is fiber, but you'd think it's healthy. You would not take Lysol, and you would not use this as your dressing. Because, why? Because Lysol's probably dangerous. It kills bacteria, but you don't want to put that on your food, right? And I'm not going to eat this now, but that's just to show a point. My dad used to spray this Lysol in the hallway when he would come home from work, and me and my brother and sister would be in this cloud of Lysol when we were younger. But again, information is now abounding that some things are not so healthy for you. So spraying food, not so healthy. Eating a whole food plant-based diet, probably healthy. Going with regular milk, it's up to you. Going with organic, or at least certified organic, probably a little healthier. So eating fast food, this is my model of a McDonald's steak, egg, and cheese bagel. I used to eat these every other day when I worked at in Wheaton. Now this is from 2011. It's now 2015. I didn't stop eating back then. I stopped eating these a long time ago, but when I started to lecture at Whole Foods, I thought, I might as well buy one of these to use as a model. I kept it in the basement, kept it in my garage. I didn't do anything fancy. It was actually in the bag up until January when I wanted to keep it in this office. And it still looks okay. I don't know if you could see it, but you ask any of my patients and they'll actually see this thing. It looks pretty good for being 4 years old. So to me, that's fake food. Now if you were to ask me about how it tastes, how it smells at the time that it's cooked, definitely great. I mean, the aroma of the steak, with its burnt edges, with its oil dripping off, with the cheese in it, with the onions, with the bagel that's getting saturated, that was all great. It was a potpourri of different emotions that I would have just smelling it, tasting it, holding it, eating it. I can tell you that it made me feel good at the time. But I can also tell you, and with knowledge now about how this works, I can also tell you that in a couple hours I would kind of crash and look for some stimulant, whether it was another fast food product or me being famished and wanting a cup of coffee or a sugar rush, or I used to eat Krispy Kremes after that. I was unhealthy back then. I thought it was healthy, but again, the knowledge about what we eat and how we prepare it is really abounding, and it's making me empowered to make better choices now. Back in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, I think it was only the food industry that had the access to all this science about how to sway somebody, how to make people feel good with food, how to turn on the insulin response, use it to your advantage. Now, all this information is available to us, thank God for the internet. You just have to sift through the information and see what's tangible, what's reproducible, and what's dangerous. That's up to me to kind of sift through and give it to my patients. So the objective is always know what you're eating and know how food affects you. There are things that are poisonous and probably dangerous, and I'd probably throw up if I ate that salad now. There are things that you wouldn't really feel bad for, and it's just it's such a nuanced symptom, like hunger in 2 hours, that you wouldn't even think about it. There's also other things like pesticides that you sometimes would have to worry about. That's why going organic is sometimes helpful, especially if you have big disease. If you have a couple different diseases, uncontrolled arthritis, rheumatologic disorder like gout or autoimmune disease, diabetes that's not controlled, even heart disease, sometimes when you add other things to the mix, in addition to saying that you're controlled with prescriptions, when you add other irritants, it might increase the chances of having that disease process get out of control. Typical is cancer. If you have a patient, if you have a friend, if you have a family member that's trying to battle cancer, you know they're going to stay away from this crap. And why? Because they're in a fight. The problem is most people don't realize that you should probably start fighting when you're in your 20s. So that's when all the bad things start to happen. You just don't feel it. I think that in our youth we have the power to digest anything. It just takes a couple 10 years, a couple decades before you see manifestation of bad choices. So EWG has been a great website or a great organization to kind of peruse what's healthy, what's not so healthy. And they have a list of the Dirty Dozen and a list of the Clean 15. If you're strapped for cash and you want to know where to spend your money as far as food, go for the Dirty Dozen, see what's really bad, and that's where you make choices for organic. If you want to look at the Clean 15, I'll put links, and know where to buy conventional and save a little bit of money. You go by what is out there as far as the research. There are things now called HCAs and PAHs that will be found in food that is grilled. So just being a griller in the summer is healthier than, I guess, buying fast food, but you have to, again, know what's out there and what happens when you burn food. Again, my dad used to love eating the gristle when it came to steak and burning a well-done steak, but that we're finding that's dangerous now because of those heterocyclic amines that get produced when you burn stuff. So sometimes even knowing that if you pre-cook things, if you marinate in vinegar, lemon juice, oregano oil, sometimes even beer, you'll decrease the amount of bad heterocyclic, or I just call them HCAs that get formed after you burn something. Cutting out the gristle, that'd be important. Trying not to charbroil, going maybe medium on the cooked steak or a burger, probably important. Maybe avoiding things like bacon. There's a nice list from Mount Sinai on AGEs. Again, these are all acronyms, but AGEs are advanced glycation end products. And the higher the listing, and I'll put a link here, the higher the listing of the AGEs on a food source, the more dangerous that food source will be to you in the end. So it's just, again, knowledge to help you make other choices. Just for reference, if you know any diabetics, when we have a diabetic and we have them come in the office every 3 to 6 months or every 3 to 4 months, we check something called the hemoglobin A1C. It's a blood test that looks and sees how much glucose has been exposed to high levels, or how many red blood cells have been exposed to high glucose over the past 3 to 4 months. And if the hemoglobin A1C, or glycosylated hemoglobin, is high, that means that little tiny red blood cell was exposed to a bunch of sugar. And the higher the sugar, that's even sugar with regards to sugar, the higher the sugar amount, the more dangerous that person is going to be at getting heart disease, some degenerative arthritis or degenerative disease, and or problems with amputation or blindness or kidney failure. So see, even glucose, sugar, can be dangerous. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. You have to not be threatened and go straight into restrictive dieting and not eat anything but water, but you also have to empower yourself with how to get the knowledge and how to use the knowledge. Again, if this is more for people who have already made the jump and want more information, but there's a lot of great information out there. There's a lot of easy ways to initiate healthy food, or at least a healthy practice. And again, it sometimes just means committing to a change, hopefully getting results, and then following up with somebody, usually a primary care health provider, to get more knowledge about the next step.